Shannon Sharpe. Of all the human beings on this planet, one human can speak words that have the most profound effect on Jerry Jones, and his name is Jimmy Johnson. And I believe that his continued endorsement of Tony Romo, and this goes back a ways because Jimmy has always been a big Romo proponent, that it will slowly but surely push Jerry over the top into my worst nightmare, which is keeping Tony Romo and reinstalling him as the starting quarterback next year for the Dallas Cowboys. And I want to quickly give you the background of this. Remember, it was Jerry Jones who dared to fire Tom Landry. The day he closed the deal on the Dallas Cowboys, he fired Tom Landry so that he could bring his quote-unquote good buddy from his University of Arkansas teams to coach the Dallas Cowboys from the University of Miami with zero NFL coaching experience. It was as outrageous a move as you've ever seen until, of course, Jerry fired Jimmy after he had won 2 straight Super Bowls after the '93 season. My point is, Jerry always wanted to be Jimmy Johnson. He idolizes Jimmy, maybe to a fault. And he sold to the media in Dallas that they had been roommates at the University of Arkansas, when in fact, even though they were teammates on the same national championship team, the truth was they were only road roommates because their names fell in alphabetical order. Jones and Johnson, right? Or Johnson and Jones. So that annoyed Jimmy greatly. And as they began to win in Dallas, he began to cut Jerry Jones to the quick by ridiculing him in front of assistant coaches, in front office staffers, by insulting his football intelligence. Jerry is most proud of his football intelligence, and he believes that he has as much as Jimmy has. And that's why he uttered the famous quote as they began to win, "I could coach the you-know-what out of this team." So Jimmy ridiculed Jerry because, remember, Jerry didn't pay one due to become the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. He just went straight to the oil fields, he went bust, and then he got rich real quick. And he bought the Cowboys, and he named himself the president and general manager, which infuriated Jimmy Johnson to no end. So clearly, after one insult after another, Jerry finally said, "I'm a man and I'm not going to take this." We've been talking about how man finally just says, "I just can't take that anymore." And even though there was no Twitter or Instagram, he was getting it in front of other assistant coaches to the point he said, "I'm not going to take this anymore." He fires him and hires a guy who'd been out of coaching for 3 years and never coached a down in the NFL, and Barry Switzer. But after that, slowly but surely, I think they made up. They're not friends, but they are now friendly. And to this day, I know for a fact that Jerry will savor the words, will take to heart the words of Jimmy as an analyst quicker than any other analyst. And remember what Jimmy said on the Fox postgame show after the last regular season game in Philadelphia? He opened that door crack because Romo had his little sizzle reel.
I don't want to start a controversy,
yeah,
but...
remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? And Romo had been just sensational, albeit for one series, boom, 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 down the field, against what was left of the Philadelphia Eagles. But he did look great. And he looked like the Romo of old instead of an old Romo. And once he reopened that door, I believe that Jerry took it to heart, like, we should do this. We should go back to Romo right now. Silver platter opportunity for us. We could maximize our chances to win the Super Bowl this year if we went back to Tony Romo now. And now that they had this big celebration over the weekend in Dallas to celebrate the championship teams of the early 90s, especially the 92 team, the breakthrough team, I believe this will have an even more profound effect on Jerry to think and think and think about it, and will continue to push him over the edge into keeping Tony Romo and putting him back in the starting lineup.
So now all of a sudden, Jerry, who fired Jimmy, values Jimmy's opinion.
He always did. He idolized him. He wanted to be Jimmy, and he wanted Jimmy to love and respect him, and Jimmy would have none of the above.
That man worth $5 billion. And he want to be,
Okay, but what in the end means the most to him?
Oh, you want to win them Super Bowls?
No, but he wants to be viewed as a football genius or savant.
Yeah,
Yes, right.
Here's the thing. When you talk about Tony Romo, and if I'm not mistaken, Jimmy mentioned it 3 times. He prefaced everything with what, Joey?
Health.
If.
Sure.
If.
Well, you have to.
If. The Patriots, if Tom Brady, they don't say if. Green Bay, if. New York, if. How can I build my team on if? You can't. And everybody, oh, Tony Romo. We're not debating whether Tony Romo can win games because he's won games. And everybody say, oh, Tony Romo can win a lot of games. Have you heard anybody say Tony Romo can win the game?
Well, he's never won the game.
Okay, this.
I mean, he won a big one at Green Bay.
No, he didn't. Skip.
Yes,
I would
he
just
did.
skip.
It was
I
a
would
catch.
skip Bayless.
Was it not a catch?
No, it
you
wasn't.
know it was a catch. I can just see in your eyes, you know it was a catch. They would have won the game.
Skip.
That was a big throw, Tony Romo. You got to give Romo credit for that.
It was not a catch, and you don't get credit for an incompletion.
Oh.
So that's what it was. It was an incompletion. Skip. They need to stop with this. A man that has been in the league, has been a starter for 12 years, has been in the league for 14 years, Skip, and he's never been past the divisional round of the playoffs. What makes you think at 37, brittle, as fragile as he is, he's the guy that can get you over the hump? Listen, I understand that I don't spend thousands and thousands and thousands of hours now looking at tape. But I've been around the game long enough. I played the game long enough. I just don't see what everybody else sees in Tony Romo. Everybody throws around a great. Tony Romo is not a great quarterback. He's never been a great quarterback. We throw that word around too much. Aaron Rodgers is great. Tom Brady is great.
Greater than Aaron Rodgers. But go ahead.
I'm just trying to make a point about great. We're
it.
not trying. Skip. I've said 3 weeks ago that Tom Brady is the greatest player. If he's the greatest player, that means quarterback, running back, receiver. So can we just, so now.
That's over.
Okay.
So don't put them in the same sentence anymore. No, great and great in the same sentence. It's a little disrespectful to the second great, who's Tom Brady.
Skip
But go
Bayless,
ahead.
I don't drink, but you about to cause me to start drinking.
Yep. I'm just keeping you honest. It's okay.
Drew Brees. Stop saying Tony Romo is great. Tony Romo is good, and at times he's been very good.
Okay, here's the point. I believe if Jimmy Johnson had been coaching this year's Dallas Cowboys, that once the playoffs hit, he would have gone back to Tony Romo. Because Jimmy is University of Miami. He's flash and dash.
I believe
he wants the spectacular. He wants the capability of having the nuclear firepower of hitting the big touchdown pass to Dez Bryant that he wouldn't think that Dak, certainly as a rookie in a first playoff start, was capable of making.
I tell Michael Irvin all the time, I say, I'm glad that Jerry fired Jimmy, because you'd have made our job a lot more difficult trying to get back-to-back championships in 97 and 98. Because there's a good chance the 5 titles that Coach Belichick and Tom Brady have, that would have been Troy Aikman and Jimmy Johnson.